Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So as usual, I'm just gonna kind of recap my trading week. This week was a little bit better. Not massively better, but the last couple of weeks have been kind of terrible. So anything would kind of be better than the last couple of weeks. So this week was a little bit better. Had a couple trades that kind of worked out. Couple that are still open. Couple stop outs. As usual, making a couple of mistakes. So and obviously a couple missed opportunities as well. But it's all learning experiences for me. And it's just trying to get better every week. So one change that I did make, which is kind of a big change for me, is I've decided to implement a scoring system for my trades, for each trade that I take. So each trade now would have like a grade associated with the trade. So it should only range from like a C to A plus. This F shouldn't have happened, right? I only implemented the scoring system later on this week. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, but I only implemented it later on this week. Had I implemented it at the start of the week, it would have saved me from taking this trade. So essentially, kind of moving forward, hopefully the scoring system will keep me out of bad trades, and hopefully reduce losses like this one. It's fairly basic. I have basically like a series of questions like I need to answer, like an evaluation that I need to answer, based on the way that I trade. So basically, what this top section here is, like, everything must be met in this evaluation section up here before I can even trade, right? That will give me, if I answer all these questions correctly, it'll give me a minimum score. I believe the minimum score is 75. Once I achieve that 75 score, then I'll be able to trade. It will only give me a basic score of like a C trade, right? And then if I kind of meet some bonus criteria for a trade, like if any of these bonus criteria have been met, it will kind of just push the score up a little bit. Maybe take it from a C to a B to A, and if it's like a really good trade, it might end up being like an A plus, right? So I mean, I'll just run through it, just kind of answer like the basic questions. So is it in a clear trend on the daily? Is current market structure on side? Is the trading zone clearly defined? Like all these basic things that need to be met for me to actually take a trade, right? And then once all these things have been met, a very, very important one would be my emotional state. I always want to be calm and confident. If I'm anxious, then I shouldn't really be trading just on this basic criteria, right? Equally, if I'm angry or frustrated or overconfident, I want to kind of be out of the market, right? So I really want to be calm and confident. Once I'm confident and calm, then I should be able to take a trade, right? And then anything on top of that would kind of be a bonus. So if all these things were like perfect scenarios, like everything that I'd love to see in a trade, it'll start pushing the score up, right? Taking it from that C all the way up to an A, and then if I have the trade fully planned, then that would kind of be a A plus trade. But A plus trade, if I'm anxious, right, for whatever reason, A plus trade, if I'm anxious, will kind of take the trade down to A, right? However, if I'm angry or frustrated, then I should not be trading, right? Equally, if I'm overconfident, it becomes a B trade. So it's pretty good for me. And hopefully moving forward, it will kind of keep me out of making rash decisions when entering trades. It'll make me take a step back, really analyze the trade that I'm getting into, and then kind of move forward, right? So anyway, enough of that. So Alright, so the first trade for me this week was on GBPUSD. It's taken on the 1 hour time frame as a long position. Um, so I'll tell you why this was a bad trade, right? But basically, it was a big break, typical stuff, break and retest of a H4 level after rejection, entered on a 1 hour time frame. Entered after 1 hour structure was in place, hidden divergence on the H1, regular divergence on the 15. In hindsight, this was not a great entry. The H4 closed off with a momentum candle. Rejection wasn't clear enough, and but you know, I managed to trade okay, right? So this was a trade here at the time of entering. Right, so we have on the H1 price making higher lows whilst the RSI is making lower lows, right? And you have this nice structural level here that was broken and now being retested, right? And then this was the trade here at the time that I closed it off. Right, so price kind of came to this invalidation level, forming that lower low. And that's when I close the trade off, right? So I'll just jump to the chart here, GBPUSD. So obviously GBPUSD, we've been in this uptrend for a while, right? Although on the H4 we started to make lower highs and lower lows, right? We recently broke structure back into higher highs and higher lows. So you know, this high that was broken because of the typical you know, major trend that we were in, you know, I thought this would have been a pretty decent level, right? Now this candle here, this big bearish candle just here, that was the candle that would have invalidated the trade for me, right? Even though we had, I'll just zoom in a little bit, even though we had rejection of the level, right? We had rejection of the level just here, right? This level just here. I would have waited. I should be waiting for a clearer indication on the lower time frames to get involved in this trade, right? And that, you know, I don't want to see a big momentum candle and not get the validation I need to see on the lower time frames. That needs to happen, and that didn't happen in this case, right? I entered the trade, and you know, if I had my scoring system, it would have kept me out of taking this trade, right? So I just look at the lower time frame structure here. So what if I see that big bearish candle, what I'd like to see is a confirmation of, even if I go to like the 15-minute time frame, right? What I'd like to see is a confirmation of clear higher highs, higher lows, right? This is a very corrective market structure. You see how this is one big momentum move, right? Technically, this could kind of be right here on the lower time frame. This could kind of be like a little flag formation, right, for continuation, right? So I shouldn't really have been taking this trade, but you know, hopefully in weeks to come, I'll be able to avoid these types of setups, right? So why did I close the trade off here? I had my invalidation level probably clear on the H1. Right, so basically I looked, actually the invalidation level could be here, but you know, this is where the move really had that bullish candle, right? This bullish candle that broke this high, right? So that was the low I was looking at for the trade to become invalidated, and once we kind of came back and closed beneath this low here, that invalidated the trade for me, and you know, I closed the trade off here, just here, minimizing that full loss. I mean, it was like a 0.65 R loss, I think it was. Yeah, 0.65 R. So you know, not the biggest save, but you know, I did save just a little bit, right? So anything you can save in the market is always good for you. Right? So I'm happy with how I managed the trade, but you know, I'm disappointed in my entry. Anyway, so moving on. AUDNZD was the second trade for the week. It was taken on the 15-minute time frame. It was a long position. Basically the same sort of stuff, break and retest of previous highs after structure shifted back into the overall trend. 15-minute regular divergence, entered on the 15-minute after a Morningstar confirmation, closed 50% of the position at 1 hour, the rest was out at break even. This is a trade here at the time of entering. right? So we have uptrend structure. H1 kind of had this bearish structure in place, but we then broke above these recent highs here, came back, retested it with rejection. And then this was the trade here at the time of closing, right? So enter the trade here, pushed into profit, hitting that first take profit, and then came back and took me out at break even. All right, so I'll just jump to the charts quickly. Where is it? AUDNZD. Oh yeah, I've decided to put AUDNZD on timeout for a while. I never really had the best of luck trading this pair. And you know, it typically for my strategy based on price action and break and retest, I really don't want to be in this kind of market, right? And this pair tends to kind of chop a lot, and you know, I never really had the best of luck with this pair, so I'm just thinking to give it a rest for a while, right? So overall structure on, if we just look at the higher time frame, so H4, right, we've kind of been in this uptrend for a while, forming major higher highs and major higher lows. On the H1 time frame, we kind of had this corrective structure. You could call it a downtrend, right? Corrective kind of downtrend structure. But we had price break. This was the last structural level just here, which price broke it. It didn't really break it impulsively. I'd like to see a nice impulsive push past the level, showing that shift, you know, that clear shift back in momentum. It was okay. It wasn't the clearest break, but it was okay, right? And then price kind of correctively moved back to the level. We had this minor kind of H1 trend line being formed, right? So we had that confluence of that trend line. We had this low here, so we had that higher low on price. But on the RSI, we were forming lower lows, right? From here, I dropped to the the 15-minute time frame, right? And then here on the 15-minute time frame, you can see that price was making lower lows, while the RSI was making higher lows, right? So we had lower lows on price, and we had higher lows on the RSI, forming that regular divergence, right? And then we had price push higher, you know, pushed back above the level, came down, and then formed this kind of morning star formation, right? We had this big bearish candle, indecision, and then this candle closed at least 50% back into that bearish candle. So when I saw that, I entered the trade, just put stops right beneath the level, and you know, price, I would have liked price to hit this first. Actually, it did. Yeah, I probably chickened out a little bit. So actually, no, hang on. Did I say 1 hour? No. Oh yeah, 2 hour. I was wondering. Right. Yeah. So first take profit was just beneath the structural level here. Why did I choose this first take profit? Oh yeah, because we had this kind of supply area, or is demand area, just here. Yeah, and then we had these rejections. So yeah, I just decided to take my first profits here. I think that worked out to be exactly 2 hour. Let me just double check. Yep. Yeah, 2 hour. 1.95 hour. So yeah, 1.95 hour. So yeah, so I closed 50% of the position off here, and then it just kind of ranged at this level, and you know, it tanked pretty much. So taking me out of the position. So yeah, so that was that trade. It was, yeah, I think it was an okay trade, but I'm just gonna, yeah, as I said, I'm just gonna leave AUDNZD alone for a little while. All right, so the next trade here for me this week was on EURUSD. It was taken in 4 hour time frame. It was a short position. All right, so it was a break and retest of a H4 level, entered after rejection on the H4 time frame. H1 gave the confirmation of entry, hidden divergence on the H4, regular divergence on the H1. Managed to trade poorly. I believe it was kind of out of desperation, trying to get that win. I should be doing better here. This should have been a small loss instead of a full loss, right? And I took a screenshot of my post trade analysis here, which I'll talk you through. All right, so this was the trade here at the time of entry. All right, so we have price making downtrend structure, RSI. So we had lower highs on price, higher highs on the RSI, together with the 200 EMA kind of coming in. Price rejected that 200 EMA together with the broken lows, right? From that nice rejection. Then we had this here. Price was this. Sorry, this was the trade at the time of closing, right? So price spiked up, breaking past the 200, breaking past the level, and took me out, right? So this was all right. So I'll just jump to the chart here to talk you through the trade. So EURUSD, right? So I'll just get rid of these for now. That's from my post trade analysis. All right. So H1 time frame, H4 time frame. Sorry. So this was what I was looking at, right? So we had overall on the daily time frame, we kind of been in this kind of massive uptrend, right? We started to make downtrend structure just here, right? So if I pull a line, basically pull a trend line all the way along here, you know, we'll have that nice impulsive break of the trend line together with these lower highs, lower lows on the daily time frame. The H4 time frame, right? What I was looking at was price was forming these lower highs, sorry, and then RSI was forming higher highs, right? So I'll just pull this on here. So from here to here, right? So we had that hidden divergence being formed, right? And we still had this downtrend structure in place. So when I saw this rejection candle here, this massive rejection candle here on the H4, right? Together with, if I just put in the 200, right? So we had this dark kind of gray line here, that's the 200 EMA. At price rejecting that 200 EMA confluence with the zone. I think the zone was very, very clearly defined. So yeah, I mean, once I saw that, I was like, yeah, I had full confidence in the trade, right? So it was a pretty good trade. However, if I jump to the 15-minute time frame to kind of just manage the trade, so as long as a trade doesn't hit my first target, I should be managing the trade like it's a day trade, even though it's a swing trade, right? Now, what I saw happening here on the 15-minute time frame, so if I just look at basic structure, so I'll just pull kind of this trend line here, right? Just connecting these highs, right? Okay, we had the kind of swing here on the 15, right? So what I'd be looking for is a nice rejection. If price pulled back into the trend line, I'd be looking for a nice rejection of the trend line if it came back, right? But a couple things happened here, right? So if I just draw a ray, so we had if I just identify this low here, right? So this is the low kind of before this move here, right? So that's the low I'd be looking at. I mean, I guess if we want to get technical, right, this should be the low I'll be looking at, right, for structure, right? So once we had this high being formed, this was the last high before my entry, right? And we broke past it and formed a low, right? A lower low. So that's fine, right? So I'll just update my rate to this lower low just here, right? So once price made its retracement, right? Made its retracement and formed that high, the next thing that I would want to see if this downtrend is to continue is for a break of these previous lows, right? We had that nice kind of corrective move back up, right? Showing weakness, corrective move back up, right? Next thing I want to see is a break of these lows. If the break of these lows didn't happen, right? And we went on to break the trend line and formed a higher high, right? So if I just move this, I'll just pull another ray, right? So I'll pull a ray to this high, right? You can see the candle that broke the trend line formed. It didn't close higher, but it price went higher than, you know, this high here, right? So this is technically your next higher high. So once I see that, I should be closing the trade off, right? And then look for a re-entry if prices to kind of continue in my direction. That's how I should be managing the trade, right? And that would have resulted, I entered somewhere around here, right? Somewhere around this level. That would have resulted in, you know, like a quarter loss, right? So a minus 0.25R rather than a full loss. You know, but for whatever reason, right, as I said, I think it's probably desperation, just kind of hoping for the trade to work out. I just held on to the trade, right, and that was poor decision making and poor trade management on my part. So I really ought to be doing better than that in managing my trades, right? So, you know, it is what it is. Market as a lesson learned, and, you know, I'll try to improve on it in the weeks and months ahead, right? So what I'll do, I'll just put this in red to make sure I kind of recap it, right? And I just kind of saved this screenshot from a post trade analysis, right? So same stuff I just basically talked you through. So we had the lower low, we had the high, the lower low, we had the lower high, and we never formed that lower low. Instead, we broke the trend line, breaking above, forming a higher high, right? So yeah, that was poor trade management on my part. All right, so moving on, the next trade for the week was here on CADCHF. So it was taken on the 15-minute time frame, long position, right? This trade is still open and running. There's a break and retest of a H1 structure level in the trend direction of the main trend. Regular divergence will form at the daily level. Entered after a bullish engulfing on the 15-minute time frame, booked 50% at 1 hour, and the rest is still running, right? So I'll just jump to CADCHF. Oh, I'll just show you the trade at the time of entering here. Yeah, so this was the trade at the time of entry, right? So we had price impulsively push up on Friday, came back down to the entry level, close off with that bullish engulfing candle on a 15-minute time frame, and I was just looking for that continuation. All right, so just jump to the chart here, CADCHF. All right, CADCHF. So we can actually just analyze it on the 1 hour on the 1 hour time frame, right? So we had overall, if you jump to the daily time frame, we just been in this massive bullish market, right? Price kind of came back to this level just here. This is the level I was looking at on the daily time frame. If we look at the 1 hour time frame, price pulled into the level, forming regular divergence, right? Price making lower lows on price, but the RSI was making higher lows, right? Higher lows on the RSI. So once I saw the divergence happening, I was just waiting for that break of structure, right? So we had lower highs and lower lows being formed on the H1. We had, this was the structural level here I was looking at, you know, that was the last high, right? So once this high was broken impulsively, we could look at it on the 15-minute time frame. Once this high here was broken impulsively, I was also seeing the possible W formation, right? So we have this kind of possible W formation happening here, right? Which is a pretty decent reversal formation. So once I saw the impulsive break, I was just waiting for price to see if price would kind of come back to the broken highs, right? Which it did. And we also had it come back to the broken highs with a confluence of the 50% Fibonacci level, which is just this. I'll pull this over so you can see it. We have this 50% retracement here, right? So once I saw that 50% retracement, I was just waiting for that kind of entry confirmation here on the 15 minutes. And it came in the form of this bullish engulfing candle just here, right? So once I saw that bullish engulfing candle, I entered the position. I put my stops just beneath the structural level. I was just looking for that continuation, right? So I took half of the trade off here at 1 hour, and you know, I'm looking to scale out further if price continues in my direction, right? So I'll scale out another portion of the position here at previous highs, and then just look for it to kind of continue if it wants to continue pushing higher, right? So that was that trade. And the last trade for the week was here on GBPNZD. It was taken on the 4-hour time frame. There's a long position, similar sort of setup as EURUSD. So it's a break and retest of a daily level after rejection on the H4, entered on the H1 morning star, hidden divergence on the H4, right? So this was the trade here at the time of entering. All right, so we had price making higher highs, kind of correctively moving back to this broken daily level, H4 level just here, right? We had higher lows on price, lower lows on the RSI, right? So if I jump to GBPNZD, 4-hour time frame, right? So this is a setup here, right? So we have, hidden divergence all the way through, right? So higher lows on price, lower lows on the RSI. Price correctively came back to the level. It was also a nice 618 Fibonacci level. I'll just pull this over. 618 Fibonacci level just here. Rejection on the H4 of the level. I guess you can kind of say the trend lines in play here as well, right? All it kind of disrespected the trend line a little bit, and there's a lot of indecision right now at the level. But you know, if I jump to the H1 time frame, what I saw, my entry criteria, if I just zoom in here, we have this bullish engulfing candle at the end of a morning star, right? So we had price pushing lower, indecision, and then we had that bullish candle closing above 50% of that bearish candle just there, right? Not only that, but we had that engulfing of the morning star as well, which is pretty good. All right, the reason I decided to hold the trade over the weekend, which I normally wouldn't do if a trade is kind of on break even, the reason why I decided to hold it is because you can quite clearly see we have kind of the bulls are in the market here, right? So you're seeing kind of bearish weakness. All this is bearish weakness, and then we have impulsive buy-in, right? It kind of got a little bit weak here, but then we had that kind of weak retracement, and then this big bearish engulfing candle. Weak retracement, big bearish engulfing candle. So I'm just hoping that, you know, we'll kind of see that continuation into next week, you know, and we kind of forming higher lows as well as higher highs, right? So I don't know, we'll see. I'll keep an eye on it. Opening on Sunday, please God, tomorrow. See how the market opens, and you know, manage your trade accordingly. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That wraps up the trading week. You know, oh, there was just this one trade that I missed, which would have actually been a really nice trade. What was it? EURNZD. Yeah, so this was a trade I did analysis on last week, and I said it'll be probably good to go once market opens. So this actually set up really nicely. We had a dip beneath the level, and just you can even see it here on the H4 time frame. We had that morning star as well, morning star formation, but the entry actually came for me. I didn't actually take the trade. Ashamed I didn't, but you know, the entry actually came for me here once price dipped beneath the level and closed bullishly above the level, then came back and retest, kind of forming this kind of small retracement here. That was my entry confirmation just there. But I kind of stepped away and I didn't get the entry. There was a second chance entry upon retesting here with rejection, but you know, I'd be breaking my rules entering here, right? That would have been a totally different trade, totally different analysis. And I think this actually happened in London or late Asia, right? So I wasn't around to trade that anyway. So anyway, but it would have been a good trade, right? I would have been sitting in, what was it? What would it be? Just about 3.6 R. I'm very, very close to that kind of final target. But you know, it is what it is. I'm just happy that I did good analysis and trade kind of played out as expected. So it's still a win in my books. But anyway, so yeah, that wraps up the trading week. Wraps up the recap for the week. So as usual, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you like what you see and you like the way that I trade, then feel free to subscribe if you're not subscribed, and pass the video on to anybody that you think may gain some benefit from these videos, right? So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow for the outlook video.